thank you for joining. I'm Consuela Chapman, your host of Sunday Visitation. Today, Kerwin is being Kerwin Pittman, Pico Pittman in the heat this time. No, I'm just playing, but he is in Greenville speaking at a re-entry conference. So I know it's going to be awesome. But who I have in the studio today are two gentlemen. They're special guests. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We're going to start here on my left.
Good afternoon. My name is Tony Craddock. I'm one of the co-chairs of the North Carolina Fatherhood Conference. I've been involved with the conference for the past 10 years, and I've been honored and privileged to be one of the co-chairs for the last 3 years.
Okay, awesome.
And I'm Vincent Johnson, and I'm program coordinator with Day-to-Day Dad's Fatherhood Engagement Program, which operates out of the Family Resource Center in South Atlantic. And we've been hosting the Fatherhood Conference for the last 13 years, along with some other entities, Wake County, there's Home with Children, and I'm just happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm happy you guys are here too, because I've been hearing a lot about this North Carolina Fatherhood Conference, and the fact that it's been in rotation for over a decade speaks to the importance of it and how the community engages, right? So let's kind of get into it. And we'll start with you, Tony. What made you decide that you want to be a part of the Fatherhood Conference?
Being a father myself, I understand the value and the importance of the father being involved in the child's life. Through my experiences, I've participated as a workshop presenter at the conference, hosting several workshops on heart-to-heart with dad, having those crucial conversations between father and child. And that's been my initiation into the working with the Fatherhood Conference. And then it's grown since then. I've participated as a barbershop buzz facilitator along with Mr. Johnson, as well as serving various capacities throughout the conference itself. But it's a wonderful experience. I appreciate it, and I just have a passion for working with fathers.
Awesome. And what about you, Mr. Johnson?
Well, I am also a father of 4 great children. Not perfect in case it was, but 4 great children. I had 3 boys and a girl. And I've been a father myself. However, I came from a background where I didn't have a father in the home. So it is vitally important that fathers be active and fathers be involved. Although my mother and grandmother, they didn't play. But I was fortunate to have a great mother and grandmother who took care of me and kept me straight. But sometimes that's not the case. As a retired law enforcement officer here in Raleigh after 25 years, I can tell you firsthand how I've experienced individuals who didn't have a father in the home. And I can see the difference between a home, fatherless home, versus a home that has a father. So that's partly what drove me in to be involved with Fatherhood Conference. And I'm honored to be a co-chair with the conference.
Thank you. I want you to, if you can, Mr. Johnson, kind of elaborate on what you just said. You know, over the course of your career, you said 25 years. I know you done seen a lot, done a lot. The difference with having a father in the home and the home that doesn't have the father in the home. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have seen, and how it may relate to some of our listeners that are currently incarcerated and those family members that are on the outside?
Well, what I discovered there, far too often, sometimes I deal with kids with some of them, and being a parent is challenging under the best circumstances, both parents in the home. But when you have one parent, one mother that's trying to raise several children, it's just challenging. And sometimes we come to situations where we take the children home, and far too often there was not a father in the home. And that is directly a result of, that's direct problem of the high incarceration rate. The large majority of individuals that are incarcerated come from fatherless homes. You know, so this is my experience in seeing that. I just wanted to be able to do something to make a change and help in that area after I retired from the police department.
Awesome. I call it doing, you probably call it the same, doing God's work. You know, he's our father, and then he also puts in our heart to be a father to the fatherless.
Yes.
So we all definitely can be an avenue of change. You know, and the right position, and just having the right heart to try to help people.
All right. Now, I want to kind of talk about some of the programs this year. I know it's a 3-day event. You know what? Let me back up a little bit. You crucial conversations. I think you mentioned that was maybe one of the title of one of the workshops, maybe at a previous one or something like that with father and child. I'm curious, for individuals who have been formerly incarcerated and haven't seen or had much contact with their children and then trying to rebuild or establish a relationship, what does those conversations, is that part of the crucial conversations with father and child that y'all have? And if not, you know, what would you recommend? And I asked, so we've had a couple guests here that have expectations, you know, and they realized when they got out, you know, they're getting out the grown kids, you know, and they're still you know, thinking this year 2000 and it's 2026 and they 21, you know, and not 12 or whatever. And so there's like a gap that needs to be filled. So what's something that you would recommend in that crucial conversation with father and child? Would that help someone that's getting out?
Yeah, allow yourself to be open. Allow yourself to understand that you may not have all the answers to the questions your child have, but you're willing to learn and you're willing to seek out the information that you need. Allow yourself to be approachable. So, you know, so that your child will be willing to come to you and speak with you and have a conversation with you. We may not know all the answers, but we have an opportunity to learn and grow from our experiences. And we want to make sure that we support our children, let our children know that we are available, that we are focused, we are approachable, we are tangible, we are hardworking, we are engaging, and we're here to be their role model that they need in their lives.
Thank you.
Well, I think, of course, when fathers are released, of course, they focus on employment, which is important, but and of course, housing and things of that nature. But I believe one of the things that are missing there is how to help them connect with their children. Which, you know, if you had teenagers, even when you're in the house, it's hard to connect with them sometimes. So you can only imagine someone's been locked up and been away from the children. And when they left, they were a small child, they come back, they're a teenager or older. So with day-to-day dads, that's one of the things we help address. Help fathers to just, you have to understand your own feelings because you're going through something. You know, as men pretty often, you know, we can't have feelings, we can't be vulnerable. But it's quite the opposite, we need to be vulnerable.
Right.
We need to know how to communicate in a proper manner. Far too often when men get hurt emotionally, and they act out in anger. So what I encourage the fathers to do is, you know, just to rethink everything you're about to say or do in a moment. When you're in that heated moment, you know, sometimes it's best to just refrain from speaking or acting, you know, and especially with the children, because a father's word to his children speaks volumes.
Oh, most definitely.
So we should always encourage our kids with words of affirmation versus words of anger and destruction.
Most definitely. Words are powerful. There's a saying, we may not remember everything that you said, but we know how it made us feel. And so I'm looking on the website, and this kind of is ncfatherhood.com, right?
Yes, ncfatherhood.com.
If you're interested in getting tickets, it is a free event. I want to put that out there. And also, it is the North Carolina Fatherhood Conference, but is it open to women?
It is.
Okay, awesome. Okay, because I was going to come anyway.
Please do.
Okay. So I'm looking at the program and it says one of them is responding to your daughters. And, one of the things that is well known is that, as young girls can develop fatherhood wounds, and that actually has an impact on her attachment style and the type of men that she's attracted to. And so, so I'm curious, can you, if someone wanted to sign up for the responding to your daughters, what's some objectives or some takeaways that an attendee would receive?
Well, we have several informative workshops that talk about child-father relationships. And like I said, we would have a question and answer session, a panel discussion with professionals in the social services and mental health fields that discuss what that looks like and what you should be trying to develop with your child. So that would be the crux of the workshop. But based off of what the information is that they're seeking, we can cater it to each individual. But we definitely have an overview of what that looks like as far as a healthy relationship, a healthy conversation with your child.
Okay.
I just piggyback off of what Tony said. Statistics also show that when a daughter has a good relationship with her father, she's less likely to get into sexual risky behavior. If the father's in the home, she's less likely to get involved with a man that's going to be an absentee father. And conversely, when a young lady comes from that type of background with an absentee father, they're more likely to deal with a young man than they be an absentee father. And I think that comes back to the fact that they may not be able to embrace the value of a good father. So as a father myself of a daughter, I try to show her how a lady should be treated, right? The way I treat her mother, the way I treat her. So she'll have those high expectations when she is dating and eventually choosing a husband.
And so you mentioned what makes a good father. And what was interesting, a year or so ago, I had a men's event, and we had an all men's panel ranging in ages and things. And I posed the question, what makes a good man? And what was interesting, each participant had a different response. But I thought it was good for the audience as women because we have our own expectation on what we think is a good man versus what y'all perceive to be a good man. So I'm curious, what makes a good father? Because you have some that I'm a provider, I'm a protector. They'll look around, you got this house, you got food on the table. What's I'm here, but it's not a one size fits all, is it?
No, absolutely not. And what I explained to you guys in my fatherhood program, I don't have all the answers. Okay, when I was having my first son, I bought a book by Bill Crosby. That's when Hustle, right? And it's about fatherhood because I didn't have a father in the house, but I had a great mother and grandmother. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So I go to the library and get this book on fatherhood. But it's different things for different guys. First and foremost, we got to be responsible. Okay, we got to be responsible. That means we got to look in the mirror. With our 24/7 dad program, day-to-day dads, our first fatherhood characteristic is, I call it SWOT, knowing your strengths, weaknesses, and being honest, and being truthful with yourself. Okay, because we all have our strengths and weaknesses and things of that nature. So you have to be honest with yourself. And sometimes you're not going to have all the money to get your child, whatever. But if you're there, being present and providing, when I say provide, I don't mean materialistic. I mean, you have to provide that safe place for your child to come. You have to provide that mental stability, just for that child to feel safe. When my son was in high school, he played ball, and he said, Dad, I don't mind trying because I know you're going to be there to pick me up. So that's what a father does.
I agree with Vince that definitely be that role model that you may have needed when you were their child's age. Then also look at what's going on in your child's life, to be present in your child's life, to be that approachable parent that a child knows that they can always come to their dad if they need assistance or if they need someone to listen or provide them with feedback. Be that positive role model. Be that person that creates positive memories with your child, because just like you said, oftentimes the child may not remember what you said to them, but they can remember how you made them feel. So you definitely want to create a positive environment, a safe space that allows your child to grow not only physically, but also mentally. So it's also good to be in contact and be in touch with your feelings so you can convey that to your child as well.
Awesome. And so, for our listeners that are, waiting to come home, what would be a father's, right? A first place or second place to start when trying to rebuild or that relationship with their children, and is it going to vary based on age? Because a lot of times, what we found is they're trying to make up for lost time, and there's also this hustle. I gotta get X, Y, and Z, and like you had mentioned, I gotta get a job, I gotta get this, and really, yeah, we do need to get those things, but as a woman, I would think your priority would be trying to make that connection and rebuild that rapport or establish that rapport with your child, because once you start working, most people don't stop. And that takes the majority of your daylight time, right? If you in 9 to 5 or whatever, and the kids going, depending on the age, they're going to bed at 8 o'clock, so that like a 3-hour window. And I think that if it's something new or something you're trying to reestablish, that's not really a lot of time to build with the child. But I don't know. I'm not a father, so what's your?
Well, I think you have to be patient. Because, if you've been away, if you're in a house with a teenage child, it's hard to connect sometimes. So you can only imagine if you've been away. So you have to be patient. And you got to be flexible, and you have to be willing to run the marathon, because it's not a sprint. That child is sometimes, the relationships vary, but that child still needs to reconnect. You still need to reconnect, and that child needs time to process also. So starting out with patience and flexibility would be some advice that I would offer someone trying to reconnect with their child.
That and being accountable. The accountability, like you said, if you're entering your child's life after several years of absence, be accountable for that. I apologize, I wasn't in your life at this time, but going forward, I can't make up for the lost time. But let's look at going forward and how we can create a strong relationship going forward. And what does that look like? So just create that buy-in and ask your child as well. Like we said before, you may not have all the answers, but you're willing to put forth the effort and be patient, like Vince said, to create that relationship with your child.
Awesome. And and while you were talking, it made me think of a gentleman who has an adopted child, and the child's of a different race, and I'm not really sure what role that may play, but there's definitely a barrier, and so he'll go downstairs and, are you playing with the Legos? And the child will nod his head, and then it's like, because the child's not engaging, he'll be like, well, all right, well, I'm going to go back upstairs. And so I recommended, I said, well, what you're setting up is you're conditioning him to, eventually think, well, he didn't want to be down there anyway. He didn't try to get to know me or to try to play with me. And so I'm curious, what advice, so anyway, I told him to be kind of persistent, start playing with the Legos with him, and just start asking, different other questions instead of the check marks. Hey, how was your day? You playing with the Legos? Okay, guess you don't want to talk. I'm going upstairs. So what would you recommend to fathers who are trying to bond or have stepchildren that, because that's a new dynamic, and on how to kind of break that barrier?
Well, it's a term we use sometimes when we're trying to coach fathers. Meeting with that, you know, if the Legos is a thing or whatever that thing may be, try to meet them there for starters. And like I said, once again, you're going to have to be patient because it's going to take time, especially if it's a stepchild, step-parent type of situation, you know, or the parent happens to be coming home from incarceration. But try to meet them with that, you know, whatever they, you know, allow them in the gaming and stuff like that, which that needs to be limited, to be honest, I believe. But try to meet them with that, and that common, try to meet them with that common interest if that's possible.
And I definitely piggyback off of what Vince said. I have a personal story about that. My son growing up was an avid skateboarder. And I'm like, you know, I know nothing about skateboarding, but by the time my son was in high school, I could tell you where every skateboard park and every skateboard store in Raleigh was located in Wake County, because I met him where he was and took interest and supported him and his interests. As long as it's something that can create positivity, because I had to have an epiphany. I was sitting in the barbershop one day and I thought to myself, all my son wants to do is skateboard. I said, he doesn't want to hang outside. He doesn't want to do anything that's maybe detrimental to him. All he wants to do is skateboard. So who am I as a father not to support my child if that's what he wants to do? So we have to think from that mindset. It's not necessarily what we want or what we think our children should be. We want to nurture them and create, you know, the foster and support their dreams and hopes as well.
That's right.
So we definitely want to make sure that we meet the children where they are and definitely guide them and get them to open up to us, and we can develop a relationship in that manner.
You heard it here. You got to meet them where they are. We're going to take a quick break. Let me give a shout out to our sponsor, the Craddock Clinic, where we continue to provide behavioral health excellence throughout the state of North Carolina. We do welcome your phone calls, 919-872-1055. If you're ready to make an appointment with the Craddock Clinic at one of our 12 locations, 848-0132. Or we can definitely accept your letters, 3630 Capitol Boulevard, Raleigh, North Carolina, 27604. All right, how y'all feeling?
We're good.
Okay.
How much longer? Yeah, how long is this?
They're like 2 25-minute segments.
Okay. So the next, I've got a 4 o'clock. I just wanted to.
Oh, okay, you give me them.
Okay.
All right, so so then now we're going to go to, I'm going to transition, have you talk a little bit about the day-to-day dads and going into the jails and what that looks like, how long the program is. You can talk about, we'll talk about the, what's it called, the buzz, the barbershop
buzz.
Barbershop buzz. Give me the history on that, starting in 2012. And then and then you said something about the reentry. There's a reentry workshop.
Yep, there is a reentry workshop. That's correct.
And then we will kind of finish with that.
Okay.
And then another where you can get tickets.
Okay.
That kind of thing. Okay. Resources.
And if it's okay, I'm going to throw a plug in where they can sign up to join day-to-day.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have a house right now for guys, and I was thinking, they go to SIOP to do individual therapy, but I was also looking for something else for them to do. Add to their toolbox when they go on to that next phase of their recovery journey. And so the day-to-day dads, is that like a 12, like how, is it a curriculum? Is it like a 12?
There's a curriculum. We operate out of a handbook called 24/7 Dad.
Okay.
There are 12 portions that we condense down to 8. We'll start out talking about family history, because of course that shapes who we are.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you do it on the record. But is it in person or virtual?
virtually.
Okay.
And we will meet when we have when the guys complete the program, we will eventually make a date to meet along with the kids and do something nice.
Okay. All right. Okay, you ready? I forgot, what did I say I was going to talk about? Oh, the day-to-day. Is that what I said I was going to pick up with?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's all right.
I got so many. Welcome back to Sunday Visitation. I'm your host, Consuela Chapman. And if you're just joining us, we have two special guests in the studio today. We have Tony Craddock and Vincent Johnson. They are co-chair and organizers and advocates for fathers. And the conference that's coming up starts on the 17th. It's a 3-day conference. There's even something for practitioners. There is a breakfast, and then the main event on the is the North Carolina Fatherhood Conference. And so I'm going to start off with you, Tony. No, I'm going to start with you, Vincent. You have a special program called Day-to-Day Dads. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, well, Day-to-Day Dads is a father engagement program. We operate out of Family Resource Center, South Carolina. And if you have any interest in it's familyfrsca.org. And it doesn't cost anything. Right? It's a father engagement program, and we start out with just things that help us become better fathers. And I'll tell anyone, I don't have all the answers, but hopefully together we will learn what works for them. Right? We meet virtually, and pretty often the guys, they'll learn from one another. We use the term, of course, iron sharpens iron. And some of the guys have been in the program, they stayed in the program, just continue to build, and they help some of the younger fathers along sometimes.
So it's like a mentoring component as well, sounds like.
It's also a mentoring component. So we'll start out with, we work out a workbook called 24/7 Dad, which was brought about from the National Fatherhood Initiative that was created in 1994, when there was a need for fathers to connect better with their children. So the 24/7 Dad handbook, we'll start out talking about family history, because our family history can create challenges for us. Then we'll talk about self-care, because as men, sometimes we don't take care of ourselves. And when fathers are strong, families are strong. Right, so we'll talk about self-care, and that is one of our themes for this year also. Self-care mentally, physically, and emotionally. And we'll talk about showing and handling feelings. Because, once again, as men, sometimes when our feelings get hurt, we act out in an angry manner. So we got to learn how to operate without acting out in an angry manner. And then we talk about communication, because we got to be able to communicate our feelings in a proper manner. And after we deal with our emotions, our communication, then we'll talk about co-parenting. Co-parenting is challenging when you're under the same roof. So just imagine if someone's been incarcerated, or they have history between them that's not so positive, that can cause challenges also. Right, so we talk about co-parenting. We give them tools to co-parent. Just basically being flexible and just trying to have a child-centered first mentality. So the young lady mom put her feelings aside, the father can do the same, and focus on that child. Right? And we talk about what it means to be a man, because unfortunately society has put some falsehoods out there as to what it really means to be a good man. Right? And far too often, we as men succumb to that. Right? And we talk about fathers and work, Because work can give you a certain level of self-worth. You know, is it everything? No, it's not. But it's important. It's necessary. You know, so when guys, so we talk about that. And then last but not least, we'll talk about what the father means to the family. Okay? So, you know, we'll bring it all together, and then we'll have the guys will receive a certificate. We get together and go out and have a nice time with the children and the fathers. Sometimes it's challenging because some fathers are fathers on a part-time basis. Sometimes it's hard for them to have access to their children. And so we, those are the primary areas that we talk about. And then we'll help them, guide them towards resources sometimes.
Okay, good.
For instance, the Access and Visitation Coordinator in North Carolina helps fathers deal with some of those, whenever they deny access.
Those barriers.
Yes, you know, so.
Now, is that something they're going to be able to find or have at the conference?
I don't know if we have that at the conference, to be honest with you. But that is a note, it doesn't cost anything. And that's something that I help expose guys to. Some university, county university offers that pro bono family clinic helps in that area also. So there are resources out there. We just want to help expose them to resources. And it's not going to be easy.
Right.
You know, like I mentioned before, you got to be patient. So that is the primary goal, the primary objectives for day-to-day dad-father engagement program.
Okay.
And we also do it in the jails also, because they need it in the jails also.
Oh, awesome. So if someone wanted to be connected to your program, how would they, and is it an open group? Is it rolling? Is it structured every?
We used to be structured in 8 weeks, but if someone reached out to me in the second or third week, and then I asked them to wait until we finish that 5 more weeks for that particular session we're in, sometimes they lose interest, sometimes things occur. So it is open enrollment, and we just keep going through the workshops. So there's no waiting period. There's just some basic forms that need to be filled out. You know, so it's FR Family Resource Center, SouthAtlantic.org, and you find all the information you need on that website.
Okay, awesome. All right, Vincent. So you were telling me about or telling us about the day-to-day dads, but there's also another program that you head up, Barbershop Buzz. Tell us listeners about that.
Barbershop Buzz is a initiative that President Obama started back in 2012 when he was in office. And Barbershop Buzz, they went into barbershops and I guess you said some underserved areas to talk to men, to reach men where they're at, to see how they can help men as fathers just as men. You know, so that is something that he created, and it has carried on since. And because back in the day, barbershops, young men don't get haircuts like they used to. But it was a regular routine for my age group growing up. Every other week was in a barbershop, and there were various men. And it was a place. It was like a safe hub where men could communicate with one another and just talk and philosophize. Sometimes you get a couple of lines. Sometimes you hear some things that can help you through life. So what we discovered in doing the barbershop was sometimes there are men in those shops that are just waiting to open up. We have a list of questions that we go through when we talk about for instance, one question that always gets a hot topic: have you had to talk with your children? The talk varies under different in different cultures. And then we just open up talking about fathers and the challenges of fatherhood. And some men talk about how they were not very good fathers when they had children. They were young, and fast forward 10 years later, they have their other children, and sometimes they regret for not being a better father to the older children. So so we do the barbershop buzz, and it's also a way we get the word out for the conference. We talk about the conference, we promote the conference, promote day-to-day dad, fatherhood engagement program that guys sign up for sometimes. And we can be surprised how some of them really open up. So we have a list of about 6 or 7 barbershops, from Diamond Cuts, World Cuts, Paul's Barbershop, Southgate, Locks Naturals, and more, Pressure Barbershop, and Reform Barbershop and Grips. Those barbershops have been with us for the last several years, and then we go back year after year, and they look forward to it. The customers look forward to it, and it just helps them with their mental state.
Awesome. Yeah, I wrote down. It sounds like the barbershop in general is part of that mental maintenance.
Yes.
That kind of like the salon for us as women. Yeah. All right. So for those listening, we got another special guest that joined us. Her name is Vanessa Hickman. Welcome, Vanessa, to Sunday Visitation. We're excited that you're able to join us. And if you can, tell us a little bit about yourself, and the organization, and what you want the listeners to know about the North Carolina Fatherhood Conference, the practitioners, the individuals the families that are listening, and why they need to be there.
Well, thank you first for having us. Family Resource Center South Atlantic is the agency that I work with. I am the executive director. And I just want to mention Vincent is an awesome worker. We're so grateful to have him on our team. I want to make mention also that the barbershop is like a black man's country club. And they get to go there and they get to open up and be relaxed and share stories among one another. And Vincent has done an awesome job recruiting those barbers to be a part of parenting and fatherhood, and he has stories he come back and tell us at the agency. But we are very excited to be able to bring the North Carolina Fatherhood Conference again this year. This is our 13th year, and we will have an array of workshops for fathers and father figures to attend. It is scheduled June 20th, on Saturday, June 20th. I'm not sure if you've gone over this, but it is June 20th on Saturday. And it will be beginning at 8 o'clock. We'll be there early. We got a breakfast ready for our attendees. We have a vendor wellness pavilion that is there. We are expecting over 25 vendors. We have Blue Cross Blue Shield that's on board to come. We have a Duke coming out to setting up. We have Wake County Health and Human Services to be there, who was one of our sponsors. We have the Carter Clinic that will be there, who are one of our sponsors.
That's right.
And we are so excited about that. We have Methodist Home for Children that will be there, who are also one of our sponsors. And we're just excited to be able to bring this to the community. We have had as many in the past as 700 fathers to attend this event. Ooh. Our expectation this year is hopefully 350. We don't have the capacity to hold that many as we had in the past right now. At that time, we were honored to have received the $5 million grant from the federal government to do fatherhood. That is how this came about.
Okay. Back
in, I want to say 2013, 14 maybe? Something in that area. We had the fatherhood, we were awarded with that fatherhood grant, and so we was able to provide fatherhood services. And actually it was in 2018 was our first North Carolina Fatherhood Conference. No, I'm sorry, 2018 was our Fatherhood Conference, where we had our previous executive director, Kimberly Best, who brought this to our agency.
Okay.
So we have been awarded the Responsible Fatherhood Grant back in 2014. And we have serviced well over 2,500 fathers since we've been in conception. It is amazing. And as I said, Vincent continues to do a great job with the work. We have also recently applied. It's very difficult to get that grant. We were not re-granted, but we are going to apply again once it becomes available. But we continue the work in the capacity that we're able to do the work. So we are asking everyone that's interested, especially fathers. Ladies, we appreciate you, but we really want our dads there. It is we're honoring it during Father's Day weekend because we believe fathers need to be lifted up and honored. We don't want to give them the socks and the T-shirts. We want our fathers recognized and honored. We also have a week of festivities planned. We have on Wednesday, we have a practitioner summit, and we have social workers that'll be there. We're looking for therapists to come and stakeholders to be in attendance at this event. And our hopes is that we're going to work around the importance of engaging fathers in the practice of work. So often, I can even recall when I had my young daughter in school, if something went down, we're going to call your mother or we're going to call your mom. We want the everybody to get engaged and recognize fathers. Talk to the dads in the home.
Right.
We have these families, these children have fathers in the home. Also, we're working along with North Carolina State is also a part of this, our practitioner summit. They will be there as well. There had been studies on fatherhood. They're going to give us information about that and the studies that had been found around engaging dads in the practice of engaging fathers. There's a PhD professor that has done some background research on this, so we're going to be presented with that information. We also have, and it's a panel, it will be a panel discussion, and I understood from the meeting with Wake County Human Services and the staff that are us helping to put this together, they are very excited. They're very, very excited about this conference. In addition to our Wednesday event, we have a Thursday festivities. It's called, we call it our Power Breakfast, Strengthening Fatherhood is our Power Breakfast. And that we usually, those that had been in attendance at that is our House of Representatives, our legislatures that can come and give us information about what's happening and how it can empower and work with fathers. And so we have the legislature participants being a part of this conference. We managed to, we invited David Ellis, the county manager, and he accepted the invitation. We have Rowe, Sheriff Rowe, he's accepted the invitation. Vincent, what's the?
Deputy Chief Buffalo Raleigh Police Squad.
It's also in attendance, will be in attendance. And we have North Carolina State again at the table that will be talking about the work around fathering and bringing the study to the persons that are in the planning and that are making the laws. And so we're going to collectively come together, and stakeholders will be in the audience. We also have Dr. Harrison, who will be a part of this event as well. And we have Robertson, I think. Is that James Robertson?
James Robertson
will be in attendance, and he's also going to.
University classmate.
Absolutely. He's going to also bring some information. And Dr. Harris will be our keynote speaker that morning. And he will have a topic on mental health and the impact of mental health. I have to pull that.
You have to share it with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we would have to do that. But he is on the he is there, and we're excited to hear from him as well. And I'm trying to remember all this because it's a full week of events and festivities.
Yeah, and so it sounds like too, particularly with individuals in state government and things of that nature, and this push that First Lady Stein has and her support around reentry. This is it's going to be like a synergy effect, and I'm excited to see what kind of evolves out of that.
Absolutely.
The Carter Clinic has launched a reentry initiative where we provide transitional housing for individuals who are in justice involved and may have opiate use disorder, and their partnership with an organization called Bolstering Health. And that's why we want to be a part of this conference, because the missions align. You guys are doing wonderful work. And we want to be a part of it.
This is awesome. We just recently we closed out a reentry grant that we had at Family Resource Center, and it's interesting. I was on a call today with planning to bring a new reentry component to Family Resource Center. Just today, just about 45 minutes ago. To be honest,
Didn't we talk about this before? About when I first met you,
Yeah.
about how like the universe just
because I just had this conversation prior to coming here with our previous ED. We're looking at programming around reentry because I said I absolutely love that work. We had an awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, and it goes hand in hand with fatherhood. And that's exactly the same words you said is what she said. That's why I'm looking at you, because she said the same exact words. It's a hand in hand, because oftentimes the fathers that we have served, because you have done work at the jail providing support groups there.
Fathers that they need. I mean, we've had sessions where, realization of one thing I stress pretty often is first one father is just being present. And when he did the numbers, I said I had one class that was 6 fathers, and I was 6 fathers. There were 21 children. There were 6 fathers. And I said, we got 21 children out there that's out there without their fathers. You know what I mean? And some of them be okay, but unfortunately, the statistics show that some of them will repeat. I met one young man. I said I used to be a police officer, and I told him, I don't know how I said I was a police officer. I worked in Mark Street area, and he said you might know my father. I know which father. He said you might know my grandfather. I know which grandfather. And at one point, when he was 7, his father and his mother were incarcerated.
Wow.
And he was 20, and he was about to go away for just 3 years. So, and he had 4 children. So I said, you see the pattern? We got to stop this pattern. That's why.
We call that a generational curse.
I was just thinking the same thing. I didn't know if I could jump in and say that we have to do something to
That's
stop
why
that.
we, like I said, in day-to-day dads, one of the first things we talk about is family history. And that family history was challenging for that young man. And I told him, you repeat it, you got to stop it at some point in time. So with that being said, it is vitally important that we do have proper reentry programs. Getting out is just not enough.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, and Glenn Warren, a friend of the show, Fathers Forever, he also has a fatherhood program and does some work with reentry as well. Ms. Hickman, I wanted you also to talk a little bit about is it Father of the Year? You guys still taking entries for our listeners who you have a great dad and you want to. It is Father's Day weekend. It's Men's Health Month. It's Pride Month. There's a whole lot of stuff is going on in June. But we want you to be at the North Carolina Fatherhood Conference, and this is your opportunity to highlight an amazing father. And they can go to the website. Tell them where they can.
Yeah, I think the committee did select
We did make a selection.
Oh, okay.
But it's always next year.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Great dad this year, he'd be a greater dad.
I know that's right.
So, just keep us in mind. We love to hear about the good works that fathers are doing. Last year, gentleman, Mr. Bazin, he was our father of the year, Tyrone Bazin, and his son, he and his son had a very, very touching moment that I think affected everyone when he was presented with the award and when his son read his essay to him. So, yes, those great dads out there, let's get them awarded. Let's get them awarded there. But yeah, it's always next year.
Awesome. All right. So as we wrap up, I want you all to say any last words. And there's something that we do at the end of every show. I'm going to give you guys a chance to do that as well. But tell them where they can get tickets and yeah.
Well, you can go to our website, which is ncfatherhood.com. And you can go there and all of the festivities and events that we are planning for this conference. And I failed to mention on Friday, the 19th, which is not on our website, but on Friday, the 19th, the Life Enrichment Center, we're in partnership with the Life Enrichment Center here in Raleigh. There will be Celebrating Dads Continue, and it's an outdoor festivity for all family. You can bring your family and your lawn chairs, and there's food trucks, and all of this is free. You pay for your food, but it's food trucks, and it will be live entertainment, and it'll go from 7 to 10 o'clock, and tables, and bring plenty of water, and enjoy the music and the festivities. And this is happening at the Life Enrichment Center. I think it's 3805 Tar Heel Club Road here in Raleigh. So I would encourage those of you that had not yet registered to be a part of this conference to please go to our website, ncfatherhood.com, and register. Registration will remain open until we meet our numbers. So please hurry, because it usually tends to just max out on the last few days of the conference. We usually get a flood of people, and they do show up. So come out, have breakfast and lunch with us. Our keynote speaker this year is Superior Court Judge Morgan. He will be our speaker. We have two wonderful trailblazers that will be honored this year. We have Dr. Harrison, and we have Hester, Mr. Hester. He is also one of our trailblazers.
Awesome.
So we look forward to seeing all of you.
Awesome. All right. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the part of the show that Kerwin and I, we do what we call a final thought. And that final thought could be a quote. It could be words of affirmation. And it's usually tied to the subject area of what the show is about. And so, we've been talking about Fatherhood Conference, and it's Men's Health Month and all that kind of good stuff. Who wants to lead off?
I guess I can start.
Okay.
And just for the record, for those that might not be familiar with Life Enrichment Center, it is on the campus of Wake Chapel Church.
Thank you.
Well, I guess our overall goal and objective with the Fatherhood Conference, we want to create an environment where every child can say, "Thanks, Dad." Mm-hmm. Hear the words, "I love you" from their dad. "I care about you" from their father. Therefore, when I do my talks, and I speak on the fact that I never use those words. So we want to create an environment where that's commonplace. Everyone has a father in their life that can say thanks. They're two simple words, but there are a lot of men and women out there that haven't said those words. And that can be a life change in your life. We to hear the words that "I love you," "I'm proud of you." It's in the scripture.
It's powerful.
So it speaks in the scripture. Good Lord Jesus Christ had to hear those words. The children of David need to hear those words.
Thank you for that.
Okay, I like to say our children are important, and we will learn tools and techniques that make us the best we can be as parents at this conference. So I encourage you to come out, support, and be a part of this conference.
Thank you for that. To the fathers, the grandfathers, stepfathers, mentors, father figures who show up, sacrifice, teach, protect, and love. Your present shapes futures, and your words become inner voices. And your examples become roadmaps for generations to come. I want you to know that the seeds you plant today will continue to grow long after you're gone. Until next time, thank you for listening, and take care.